Let's take a look at the PulseChain roadmap. We're going to take a look at all of these coins today in the PulseChain ecosystem. I'm going to show you all of the targets and what I currently think in regards to the current market structure. So going all the way back to May 2023, we had an ABC down for your A wave. We had an ABC up for your B wave, and then for your C wave to finish up the last leg of the bear market, you have a 5-wave move to the downside, right? We came down to the 78.6% fib over here. So all I did to find this fib is I just took a fib from this low over here in September up to this high here in March. Perfectly came down to the 786 and then rallied by over 200%. Yeah, about 300% over here. So it looks like we're still within our macro wave 3 to the upside, and we just finished wave 1 of 3. So it looks like there is still a huge, it looks like there's still a big runway that PulseX and the rest of the ecosystem has currently, right? This over here, what this looks like is you have your wave 1. I'll make the drawing black so you guys can see. You have your wave 1. Your wave 2, 3, 4, and 5. That's your wave 1 finished. Then you have an ABC down to the median for your last point of support, and then you have continuation. Now we're within the third wave to the upside. Within this third wave, it looks like we've completed wave 1 of 3. We're coming down for wave 2 of 3. Then we have wave 3 of 3, 4 of 3, and 5 of 3, and so forth, right? So what I'm thinking over here with PulseX is that it goes ahead and reaches I think it reaches a little bit shy of the technical target of this Darvis box or of this Wyckoff accumulation range. So within this whole entire range over here, this is all accumulation. If we were to just flip this structure on top of its head, we would get a technical target sitting at a little bit less than 1/10. Sorry, it's 30.98. That would be the technical target right over here. So I think it would come around this region or just shy of it, maybe towards the 4.236% extension. Okay, all I did to find these blue fibs over here is I just took a fib from this high down to this low, and taking a look at all of these fibs here on the linear scale, you'd be able to get your targets. And then to get the targets above these fibs, you would want to place the fib in the same way, but just take a look at it on the logarithmic scale. And then we get these targets here, 1.618, 1.702, and 1.786. So I think we're gonna have an overthrow of this ascending channel over here. So not only do we have a Wyckoff accumulation range that we're attempting to break out of, but we also have an ascending channel likely about to form as well. Or sorry, forming as well. Okay. You see this channel right here? I'll make it thicker so you guys can see. Right? I think what I tend to notice in highly over-leveraged markets is that whenever you come towards trendline resistance or a macro trendline, you find a little bit of resistance off of it, but you tend to push above it because there's so much hype and FOMO, and because there's likely liquidity resting above the trendline, right? So let's say for example, this is your macro pattern, right? And you're trading like this. When you come to this trendline resistance, whenever you have a very highly over-leveraged market, which involves a lot of FOMO, you tend to see an overthrow of that macro pattern, and then you have a capitulation, and then you have what's called a return to normal, and then you have a move back down into the opposing direction. So I see something very similar to that happen. I see something very similar happening with PulseX. Now this is just pure speculation. We're gonna have to alter these waves as the price develops in my Discord, and I feel like once we get above this ascending channel over here to about 30579 and 201238, I think we're going to have a 80% dip over here. And this 80% dip is where we fall out of this parabola. And Richard Hart actually talks about this in one of his podcasts. If you go back in time, you can see that he talks about how you have your parabola, you fall out of the parabola. It would likely be an 80% crash, making people think it's all over. It would come down towards the 70.2 to 78.6% fib, and then see what's called a return to normal. So in a market cycle, you have your parabola, everything is looking fine, and everything is on the upside. But then all of a sudden, you have a very significant move in the opposing direction, which throws a lot of people off guard, right? Especially all of these mid curvers over here, right? And then you have what's called a return to normal. And this return to normal, sometimes what you see is a new high to sweep the previous one, right? So this over here would be your A wave. This is your B wave. And then you have a C wave down for your bear market, like that. So this B wave, this is where all the juice is. This is where all of the max euphoria is, and what I like to call the blow off top. And yeah, I would likely. So what I'm thinking is it would hit the 223.6% fib, which is 0.4 of a penny. Okay, the 2.618 is just north of 1 penny, but I don't think it reaches there. I think it hits the 2.236, 2.382 area. Okay, now remember, all I did to find these targets is I just took a fib from this high over here in May down to this low here in September. So let's go ahead and take a look at PLS over here. So this is PLS. Okay, so this is it right here. Okay, so this is PLS over here. You have a 3 down in your A, 3 up in your B, 5 down in your C. Very similar concept to that of PulseX. And then you're likely going to have continuation up. So this is, I have another chart of this right here. Let me see. Okay, so I'm not exactly sure where I put this chart here. Let me try to find it. I think it's right here. Yeah, okay, this is it right here. So this is the PulseChain chart right here. Very similar concept to that of PulseX. And yeah, this is basically what I think right here. We're just coming down for a wave 4 of our larger wave 1 to the upside, right? So our ABC correction is done, right? This was your first leg in the market. This was back in when we had the airdrop, back in May 2023. This was your first leg, your A wave. Then for your B wave or your wave 2, we had a flat pattern, 3 up, 3 down in your A, 3 up in your B, and then 5 down in your C with an ending diagonal within the fifth wave. Right? So now this is your second leg in the market. Now we're working on our third leg to the upside, and within this third leg, where it looks like we're within wave 4 of our wave 1 to the upside. So it's likely that PLS is going to bounce off any of these fibs over here. All I did to find these fib supports is just take a fib from this low over here up to this high, and you can see that we're just shy of 38 to 38.2% fib. So watch out for a bounce over here. You'd want to DCA at all of these levels for the anticipation of a move towards the 78.6% fib, which is where most cryptos go when they're in expansion mode, right? You can even see that with pHEX. So if we take a look at pHEX, for example, right over here, you see how it just levitated right to the 786. So if we just take a fib from this high in March down to this low, take a look at the 786 right here. You see how we perfectly hit that 786? So that's exactly what I think is going to happen with PLS and PulseX. Okay, so let me just find where I put this chart here. Okay, I think it's this one right here. Yeah, so I think wave one, macro wave one, is going to top out here at 301666. Come down for a little retrace, and then we're going to go in for the real expansion, right? We're going to go in for the real expansion, which would likely take us to the technical target of this rounding bottom pattern. So you see this rounding bottom pattern right here? Very similar concept to that of PulseX, and the reason for that is because all of these coins are liquidity bonded, right? This is your cup, this is your handle. If you just take a measurement from this low up to the high, we can, like, if we were to just flip this structure on its head, we would come to around here at 201231, which would be the 423.6% fib measured from our May 2023 high down to this low. Let me see here. Yep. Okay, and these are conservative targets: 2.618, 3.618, 4.236. These are conservative targets. Then you have a wave 4. This is where all of your mid curvers come in, and then we have that wave 5 to the upside. This wave 4 may be a little bit more deeper too. We'll have to see what happens when the price gets there, and we'll definitely keep you updated in the Discord. So if you haven't joined the Discord, click the link in the description below so you guys can stay updated with all of these Richard Heart ecosystem coins right down to the small time frame. Come down for a wave 4, and then finally go in for your last wave, which would be your blow off top, maybe around September, October of 2025. So this is so I showed you PulseX, I showed you PLS, but let's go ahead and take a look at incentive. Okay, so I think this is it right here. Okay, so this is, let me show you a better chart. Okay, I think it's this one that I did it on. Okay, it's probably this one. Yeah, it's this one right here. So now remember, like, this analysis, I'm showing you all of these targets, but just remember, these targets can change depending on where the price goes currently. So remember, if you want to stay updated, then click the link in the description below. What I think over here with incentive token is that we have a 5-wave move to the downside, going all the way back to May 2023. This was your first leg in the market, so you have a 5-wave move up in an impulsive fashion. Notice how we have 5 waves here. Okay, so it's definitely not corrective. This macro structure may be corrective, but this wave up is not. So like you have 5 waves here, which is impulsive. Right? So this could be your A or your wave 1. And then you had your bear market starting in March. You have your A, B, C, and then you form what's called a 90-degree broadening wedge pattern. And you also have a little bit of an inverted head and shoulders as well. Okay. We had a move above the horizontal resistance. Now we're coming down for a retrace. We're currently sitting on the 50% fib, and we're seeing a little bit of buy pressure step in over here. If it loses the 50%, no worries. It'll just come down to these fibs and then blast off from there for a continuation for your wave 3. But so far, incentive token does look really good. Definitely DCA at these fibs, not financial advice, because I do see a move towards the 78.6% fib, sitting at around, sitting at 25, 26 bucks. Okay, we'll have a wave 3, a shallow wave 4, like this, and then we'll come in for the wave 5, right? Your wave 5 would likely take you around $78, and considering, like, if we were to get up here back to the all-time high, that would be considered a double top. And in crypto, I've personally never seen a double top. I've always seen deviation above it, right? Usually in the stock market and in the forex market, you tend to see double tops, but in crypto, I've never seen one, right? Let's say this is your top over here. Then you come down for your correction. When you come up for the retrace, instead of doing a double top, you take out the liquidity resting above it. So this is what's called our equal high buy side liquidity, and then you come down from there. This over here is your wave of excitement, or in other words, your blow off top, which you should be selling into. And that would take us to around the 2.618, sitting at $211, or the 1.236, depending on how you place it, log or linear, at around 274. So I would say a cycle peak at around $300 or more. And we'll definitely have to alter these waves as the price develops in the Discord. So definitely join if you have not done so. Let's go ahead and take a look at hex over here, and then our pHEX, and then we'll go ahead and take a look at eHEX. I have some really exciting things that I want to show you guys about eHEX. So yeah, this is hex right here. Okay, so this is eHEX, right? Same concept as PLS and PulseX. 3 down in your A, 3 up in your B, 5 down in your C, with deviation below the range. Now we call this publicly on Twitter, we call this bottom. We call the bottom on all the PulseChain ecosystem coins. And this one was really fire. Like, once you see deviation above macro range lows, you should just go all in, right? Because this is where smart money accumulates. All the dumb money accumulates in here, and the smart money just waits. They just wait for that deviation. Hence why we saw such a rapid rise towards the 786. Saw a partial decline before continuation, right? So the thing with pHEX is that we're at the range highs now. This is the third time tapping these range highs. There's liquidity resting above it now. Considering we've tapped it 3 times, it's likely it's not going to go to shit from here. It wouldn't make sense, right? So what I'm thinking is we see a partial decline, which we have already had towards the 38.2% fib, and then continuation higher. If it's not the 38.2% fib that does it, then it's likely going to be the 50% or the 618, and then continuation up from there. And then all I did to find the targets is just to take a simple fib from this high down to this low on the linear scale, and then you can do the same fib placement, but take a look at it on the log scale. So I do think that pHEX can make its way to 17 cent, which would be about a 6x, and then overshoot it by a little. So it'd be about a 10x or even more, maybe even, yeah, 20x, right to the 200% fib. Okay, so we're definitely going to have to alter these waves as the price develops. Remember, these charts aren't static. These charts don't stay the same because the markets move every day, and we have to update it every day as well. Targets change, right? Trajectories change, right? So you want to stay updated on all of these coins, and just know that these targets can change. So yeah, but so far, just taking a look at the chart from a technical point of view, just taking a look at the asset from a technical point of view, we see that it does have the possibility to reach 17 cent all the way up to 47 cent or 50 cent. But who knows? Maybe FOMO maybe FOMO and hype and speculation may send it even higher. There's a possibility for that, and we'll definitely see that possibility when the time comes. But so far, everything is looking good. Just make sure to DCA the fibs. And before I sign off, we'll take a look at HEX. So let's take a look at eHEX over here. And the thing about eHEX is that I'm revising my analysis here on eHEX. And the reason I'm revising my analysis is because I noticed that we came down here within a 3-wave move. We had a 3-wave move up, right, all the way from 2019 for your A wave. 3-wave move down in a bullish descending broadening wedge-like pattern with deviation below this adjacent low, this macro, this support over here was very strong. You can see this huge psychological support. You notice how we double bottomed off of it in 2020 and then we blasted off? Well, we swept it over here in 2024, and it basically did the same thing as pHEX, right? Swept a very important low and then had a slingshot to the upside. So it looks like we've just completed a subwave 1 to the upside for eHEX. We're going to come down towards any of these fibs for a retracement before having continuation higher, likely towards the 78.6% fib sitting at 13, 14 cent area. And then you'd want to look to take profit all the way up. And the reason for that is because you must keep in mind that HEX has already had its run. eHEX has already had its run, so there's a possibility that the move up may be nothing but a dead cat bounce. But on the flip side, there's a possibility that this is a macro ABC correction in which your C wave sweeps your 2021 high and goes towards the $1 to $2 region, and then tanks from there for a massive bear market, which likely eHEX wouldn't recover if eHEX came up here, right? If it came in this region, I don't think it would recover if it had a bear market from there. This would be all she wrote, I feel. So these would be risky targets. Anything above the 78.6% fib would be considered risky because you're betting on the price breaking this all-time high, which is less likely to happen considering eHEX has already had its run. But hey, anything is possible in crypto, right? So I hope you guys enjoyed the video today. If you guys have any questions, please feel free to let me know. And again, if you want to stay updated, then click the link in the description below to join the Discord. Peace out and take it easy. See you in the next one.